Da da da! What's my good chair? Welcome, everybody. Let's give YouTube a couple of minutes to get those notifications out. In the meantime, if you've never met me before, hi, I'm Cindy. I explore the inside and the outside, and I do look like I've been exploring the outside today. I come in here just like Rat Woman, but actually, I had a day outside today. I had to go and pick up some groceries, a few things specifically. And one of those ones that was extremely important, high on my list, that just went poof right out of my brain, and I didn't get them. I was kind of hoping that tomorrow I could just stay in and get some chores done and just do a little bit of relaxation. Went for a long walk, and in that process, I did a little bit of hauling. I thought I'd go and check out a thrift store, see if I could I could find something that could recoup a little bit of the money that I spent this week. And I did pretty good. I bought a few things that I needed for my trip in September. So in those ways where I just have a few dollars trickling in or whatever, I want to make sure top of mind that when it is coming down to the line where I'm getting ready seriously within a few weeks of leaving on my trip, that I'm not dispersing a big amount of money to get it done. And that will alleviate a lot of the pressure, because it's my big goal of the year. This big trip that I take in September. I usually go camping for, well, this year, I'm hoping to go away for 3 weeks. If I can go away for 2 weeks, that would be absolutely amazing. But I set my goal and I'm working towards them. And the thing is, you just got to hack away at it. And I consider that moving forward because it is on my goal list. And in those days where I don't feel like I'm making a lot of movement on the inside, and if you're anything like me, you've been doing a lot of that movement on the inside, a lot of that contemplation, a lot of that looking out into the world to see what's going on. Kind of broke one of my rules today, and I Googled what was going on in Iran. I have been staying right out of that mess because I understand it's about taking our attention away from those things that we should be doing, those things that we could be doing to make us feel right, like we're making some movement or we're getting some rest or alleviate the stress and the worry and the anxiety that we feel, because we are so close to everything and everyone in this day and age, right? AI has made it possible that in this minute I can talk to somebody on the other side of the world if I want to, right? And that is innovation, and that's supposed to feel good. It's not supposed to agitate us. It's not supposed to make it so that we need to be sticking our nose in other people's business. But because we live in a world, right, that is highly immersed in social media, in entertainment, in I'm going to send some good cheer out right now. I live behind a fire station, and the fire trucks and paramedics, they go by on occasion, and I'm grateful. Today's the first time today that I heard them go by my apartment. So I'm going to take that as a good sign. When I was out today, I was walking and I could hear them, and I sent them some good cheer. But specifically in my apartment, because I live behind a fire station, it's on the norm at least 3 times that we hear those fire trucks. When I have to think, I wasn't home for a big part of the day. Probably a big part of the reason why I didn't hear those the train trucks, the fire trucks and the paramedics go by, but I'm sending them out some good cheer, get to their destination, turn around, false alarm, go right back to the station. And if that's all we can do in sending out that good cheer and in sending out our care and attention in that, that's absolutely amazing. But for myself, like I said, I kind of broke one of my own rules and I wanted to know what was kind of going on with the world, right? Sometimes we live in our own bubbles that we're not aware of all the hairy, scary that goes around us. And for myself, I'm kind of grateful that I'm not immersed, I'm not compulsed into paying attention to those things. That's why I found it very curious that I actually Googled it. But I thought maybe it might be something we could talk about, because lots of people don't recognize that social media and entertainment and news and president speeches and just these communications in this age of AI learning, it is a business. It's a way of making money, but not only making money, it's a way of distracting us from the important things in life. And to each one of us, it's different. That's why we have people in politics so that they can concentrate and do their job so that we don't have to pay attention to that. And it's amazing if we can put out that heart and we can put out that good cheer that things will calm down, settle down, right? We have to make sure that we're doing it for the right reason. We are sending that good cheer to the fire truck, right? To make sure, and the paramedics, that they get to their destination and it's a false alarm. Not for my own well being, not to alleviate my stress, to make me feel like I'm doing a good thing, right? But to truly make it so maybe possibly somebody's going to live through the night, right? To get the attention that they need in alleviating in their own suffering. And if that's all I can do, like I said, that's all I can do. But I'm not sitting here and I'm not waiting for the trucks to go off, right? It's catching my attention and I'm taking note, just like the 6 o'clock news, right? It's catching your attention and it's making you grab your cup of coffee and go sit on the couch and immerse yourself in topics quite often that have nothing for you to do, right? But to send maybe some good cheer out there, and that's amazing. But lots of times it's just to distract us. And a good example of that is to kind of look at all those big headlines. Like there's been some big ones, right? We can throw the P. Diddy out there. We can throw the Epstein out there. We can throw the Ukraine and Russia out there. We can throw Mexico out there. We can throw President Trump out there. We can throw Iran out there. And we're not even talking earthquakes and volcanoes and tsunamis and, right, third world countries that are struggling to be able to even have a meal, right? And we can throw our good cheer out there. We can send a warm thought out there, but we don't have to immerse ourselves in that, right? Because lots of times there is nothing besides sending our good cheer. There's nothing we can do in that. And I said I Googled, right? I inquired what was going on in Iran today. It's because I don't have a TV. I have not had a TV in over 7 years now. And there hasn't been one day that I have missed it, right? Everything I need is right here. It's right here. It's right here. But this is my realm. This is where I feel my expertise, because we follow and do what we love, right? And lots of people, they don't spend a lot of time online. Maybe basketball is their thing, or hockey, or working in the garden, or working in community services. Those are the expertise that our energy should be going to, and not, hello everybody, hello Tammy, hello Eugene, thank you so much for popping in. But I think we are immerse ourselves too much in what everybody else's business is, because everybody has their own business. Tammy is a caregiver, right? That's her expertise. Why is she sitting in? I'm using it as an example. I'm not saying she is. Why is she sitting in what's going on in Iran, or what's going on in Mexico, if there is nothing she can do except send some good cheer? It's not because she wants to do it, it's because she got hooked in, right? Somebody threw cast that line out there, and because we live in this age of AI learning, she got snagged in that, right? And I would hate to think, Tammy, right? Because I'm here in social media, I would hate to think that I am taking you away from something that you should be doing, right? My hopes is always to keep company with people, because I want to keep company, right? Like minded should stay with the like minded. Now, I don't know if that could be completely true, because then we're not being unique in what we can expand in, because we all have different interests. Like, my expertise in caregiving, well, I haven't done it for a long time, but it was within my own family, right? Making sure that the household was calmed down, that there was no agitation going on. In my expertise in customer service and hospitality, right? To make sure that everybody was having a good time, that everybody was appreciative of that service that I was serving, right? But at the same time, understanding that I have no interest in gardening. I have no interest in what's going on in Iran. I have no interest in what's going on in Mexico, right? And those things that I was, right? We talked a little bit about my love and my desire to be on Big Brother Canada. When I got rid of my TV, that was the end of Big Brother, right? And they cast that line out. I am not going to be there to munch on that hook. And am I worried about it? Am I stressed about it? Has it agitated or brought anything negative into my life? No, in all honesty, it's brought a lot of positive into my life. I gave up that TV not once, not one day, not one thought. After getting rid of that TV, did I ever put another thought to it, another worry about it? Oh, I got to get home right away, right? I can't visit you anymore, right? Go to a friend's for coffee. I can't visit you anymore. Big Brother's on. I got to get home. Survivor is on, right? But that was what I thought was my passion at the time. And soon as I did that, I moved in to exploring on the inside, because I don't know, maybe that fishing line got thrown out to me, right? In YouTube, in working and wanting to understand emotions, and then learning and understanding that information that I was truly interested in was at my fingertips, and I immersed myself and I enjoyed it. I loved it, right? Even more than what I enjoyed and loved when it came to reality TV, in all honesty. But reality TV was just entertaining me. And that's the difference, right? When I'm working in social media, or even when I'm coming here and hanging out with you guys, I am sharing myself, not necessarily sharing all the information and all the insights from everybody that I sit in, because I sit in a lot of different conversation, a lot of perspectives. And this is my realm. I want to know how people who kind of do what I do, but in their own unique way, how they're doing, making sure that they're okay, that they're able to adapt and conquer and ride the waves. And in my own sense of caregiving, right? Go, oh my goodness, is that a worry for people, right? That they are not paying attention to what they really should be doing or what they really love, because they're so glued to the catastrophes, right? And there's a difference, I look at a lot of the characters in these meddling, right? Because it is meddling. It's power. And I'm optimistic that it's the kind of power that's going to create a better world for ourselves. And I put my faith in that. I put my faith in that, but that doesn't mean that it's true, right? Because that's only my faith. That's only my good cheer. That's my wish. That's my desire, right? But I'm not the expertise in that. So I don't feel that I should really have a say in that. There are people who have passions and have great insights into these topics that bring about change, right? Whether that's good change or bad change. I don't get to have a say in that. And I think if I did have a say in my limiting understanding, I could quite possibly stir the pot in a way that might influence just even one person in the wrong way, right? Because again, I don't have those insights. I really, right? I don't want to say I don't care, because I am optimistic that these characters out in the world are the catalyst. I don't believe that they really get much say themselves, that, like all of us, we are being guided and steered, just like, when I got that idea to get rid of the TV and to come on to YouTube and to actually be able to resolve a lot of issues that I had as a child, that I carried on as a teenager, that impacted in all aspects of my life as an adult. And, right? And in that respect, to being able to absorb a lot of amazing information, knowing that if I had been hooked on reality TV, if I hadn't thrown my TV away, if I had meddled in business where I only had an opinion, right? And not an insight, because my insight lays in aspects and content that are pertinent. Is that a word? Pertinent to me, right? Pertinent to me. And my idea in coming in and sharing is the insights and the wellness that I picked up for myself, optimistic that if you resonate with me, right? If you're spending your well deserved time with me when you can be going off and doing things that you love, that, right, in that respect, that you're doing this for yourself. And I'm optimistic and I hopeful. I hope you're just not coming in for my bubbly personality. But if that's the way it is, right, that's the way it is. Because then I can only consider myself a catalyst for keeping you distracted from something that might not do you any good, right? Lots of times our stress and our anxiety, it always comes from what we don't have control over, right? And that's how we get distracted from things that we do have a desire to have control over. And that's the key thing. We have to have that desire. And that's why I found it very, very odd today that I actually Googled what was going on in the world. And actually thinking of that now, it was in sitting in some of these conversations with some people who have similar interests as I do, and I could feel and sense the sense of agitation, the sense of insecurity, that sense of maybe anxiety or worry for something that's happening on the other side of the world. But because we got hooked by going to search out something where we have no business being, right? If you feel you have that business in being there, for sure do that. I would never dissuade my friend Sharon, right? She loves to go to rallies and stuff for important what do you call it, campaigns, and she'll pull up a stick with a big card on it and she'll march for her beliefs, right? And I would cheer her on in a minute, but I couldn't support her in that. I couldn't stand beside her as she's doing this march because that's not my cause. That's not where I have any interest or any expertise in. And I would hate to give an insight that belongs to somebody else because they're my friend, right? So I want to support them, but I want to support them. I don't want to support a misguided idea. Not saying they're misguided, right? Because Sharon, she's dedicated in her causes, but she's the expertise in that. And that's what she loves. That's where her interest lays. And that's where whoever, whatever, has drawn her attention to. When I explore the inside and the outside, I explore the inside, right? And I do my very best as of late to explore the outside. And I gave it a good shot the past couple of days, and I'm kind of poo-pooed. That's why I was kind of saying I kind of wish I didn't have to go out tomorrow for potatoes because I forgot to grab them, even though I did haul home a 10-pound bag of onions, right? In my insights that the cost is going to just go a little bit nutso. But I'm putting my faith in the experts, right? In those catalysts that whoever, whatever has put in place because they are the experts and they have the heart and the passion and the smarts to get the job done, right? And sometimes we can look at these people and say, oh my goodness, crazy town, right? But would you want to do that, right? I don't want to be the expert in that. I don't want to stick my hand up and say, okay, I'll take over that. Thank you very much. And then where would the world be, right? Might be in a better place because I've gotten kind of used to letting whatever or whoever guide me in what I'm supposed to be doing. But my guidance is this, right? It led me to this, from urban exploration, from bushcraft videos, from provincial park camping tours. And it led me to this, in sitting in and having these kind of conversations. And, this is my baby. And in this is being my baby, I feel that in what I serve, that it's my caregiving in what I love to do, right? And whether I love making the videos of my provincial park tours, or I come across a urban exploration, an old barn or something we can explore, or if I can sit here and just share something that I feel, right? Share something that's come to the surface, because I had no intent in talking about this when I hit that let's go live button, Cindy, right? Every time I go to hit that live button, the first thing that comes to my mind, what are we going to talk about today? Right? And then as soon as I come in, it's just, right? And it just happens. But that's my expertise, right? That's the letting go and letting the conversation happen and letting it land where it lands, right? And so if you're not compelled, if you're not truly in love with knowing what's going on in every aspect of the world, then I would say let it go, because it will only cause you agitation. It will only cause you anxiety. It'll make you sad, because there's a lot of sadness in what's going on out in the world, right? And if you don't have that expertise, if you don't have that stick with the sign and that rally to go to because you're passionate for what you're doing, then I'm saying grab a book and sit on your couch and read your book if that's what you love to do, right? Get into a hockey game. Go coach the kids' sports at school. Go thrifting today. This is what I bought today. I'm going to sell it for, I don't know, maybe $80. It's a bottle of, I don't know how to pronounce it. It's Givenchy, Givenchy. It's high-end perfume, and I got it for $4.99. So I thought this would help to alleviate some of the money loss. And it's not loss, right? Things that I needed. But again, in that gifting of myself for a job well done, I bought myself a couple of blouses, and that's what I was doing tonight, right? Didn't stop. I came home, putting groceries away, making dinner, getting into the lessons, doing some laundry, doing some hand washing. And I'm glad I didn't throw it in with my wash, because it's still bleeding. And I washed it like 3 times, this beautiful blouse. I guess it was brand new. So I washed it, but it was bleeding. So I'm glad I didn't throw it in with my laundry and ruin my laundry. But I was listening to myself. Oh, Cindy, better not throw that in the washing machine. You better do that one by hand. And I'm so glad that I did. Yeah, so $80, that will have paid for the grocery monies that I spent today. So I'm absolutely thrilled with that. And on top of that, I bought a few things for my camping trip. I bought a toque that has a great big headlight on it, which will be absolutely amazing if I get stuck on the trails at nighttime, or if I have to get out in the middle of the night to go to the comfort station or the outhouse, right? Or I hear some trees crackling in the forest that I'm camping out in, and I want to see the moose, or open up the tent door and have a bear crawl in, which has happened to me, not since I was a little kid, right? I did have bears walked right into our tent when we were sleeping. And yeah, it's just the energy I have. There was no problems in that, but in the moment, it gets pretty exciting, right? It gets pretty exciting. So I just wanted to say that, maybe in this time that we're in, if we don't feel that compulsion or that need, or right, if we if right, that passion that, oh, we have to be in this mix, that we have to know what's going on, we have to go for coffee with our friends and sit across and talk politics and give our opinions when we're not really truly experts, right? We're just having conversations and trying to be social with each other. But when we do that, we agitate ourselves and somebody else, because we influence the people that are around us, whether it's our friends or our families or our next door neighbor, or we're leaning against the fence and somebody walks by and we need to give our 2 cents. And I'm just as guilty today, right? And I guess maybe the why I brought this conversation is because I was guilty today. Because when I was in the grocery store, a gentleman bumped into me and we were having a short conversation. Of course, the conversation went to President Trump and what was going on in the Middle East, right? And that's probably why I came home and I had to Google what was going on. But, that gentleman brought up the conversation, but not because specifically that he was wanting to talk about that. Lots of times people just want to start a conversation and they don't know what to talk about except for maybe the weather or headline news or what's going on with somebody else. And I knew right away that he was doing that. And I just kind of made a joke and I says, "Oh my goodness, don't worry about what's going on over in the Middle East, right? President Trump is a scary man, right? It's not going to last long. They're going to shut it down. Nobody wants to mess with him." And he gave a little giggle. And then there was a store clerk there filling up the bread. And he looked at me and he kind of laughed and he smiled and he says, "Yeah, you're right." Right? And he actually looked like he was from the Middle East too. And that smile just seemed like a little bit of a realization to him. Oh, right, you're right. Like, why are we meddling in things that are other people's passions, other people's jobs, other people's interests, right? And it's kind of like being a backseat driver. And so, okay, I can see why now, because I didn't recognize why I did that, because I did that shortly after I came home. And I think it was probably to give me that I second that, right? Because I gave my opinion on something that I was not an expert in. But it was in just lightening things up, in saying, like, don't worry about it, right? Like everything is going to be okay. No matter what happens, it's going to happen, right? We don't get a say, right? They're not going to say, "Okay, it's all done because Cindy said so," right? Cindy said Trump's a scary man. It's over. It's done with. Let's just give up now. No, that was just my opinion. That was just my 2 cents that I put in. And I think probably um, it was taken well. It was taken well. And it was not my intent to speak up in a topic that I wasn't the expert in, but I also recognized it was just somebody who didn't know how to have a conversation. He wanted to have a conversation. Probably that was his outing of the day. He bumped into me. I looked up. I smiled. And in smiling, that was the opening to have a short conversation. But lots of times, people don't know how to carry on conversations. And so they'll talk about things that they had a conversation with somebody else with. right? Maybe a family member, somebody that they're comfortable with, somebody was in the elevator, or maybe just somebody like the conversation I had, just somebody who wanted to have a conversation and that was all they can come up with, right? I don't mind having frivolous conversations. It is the exchange of consideration of, right, letting somebody know that they're appreciated, that they are noticed, that they what what they have to say matters, right? But lots of times what they say really doesn't matter. They're just looking for an opening, right? It's like talking about the weather. It's kind of saying, how are you today? I'm fine. Thank you, right? Or, oh my goodness, looks like it's going to snow today, right? And these are just sentences that would make it so that possibly you could step in. And if you're that person who can carry the conversation, then they can feel like they're part of the world. They can feel like they matter. And that's a really good thing. And I think I kind of relieved a little bit of the tension that it could have gone into because the guy did seem like maybe he had an opinion, right? But I just kind of shut it down right there. Don't worry about it. It's all going to be over and done with. And right, just smiled at him and then walked away. And then I bumped into him in another aisle. And at that point, he was comfortable with me. We were like friends. And then at that point, he's talking about cream of wheat or something on the shelf, right? So yeah, that's just what I wanted to say, like, sometimes when we don't know what to do, then just do what you love. Do what what you feel you need to do in the moment, whether it's washing dishes or going for a walk or going to the grocery store, right? Just take care of yourself, take care of your family, and take care of your agitation and your worry and your anxiety by just staying away from what messes with you, right? It's like, you get in a fight with your husband. What are you going to do? You're just going to sit there and just let him yell at you, and right? You're going to go to the dishes and start slamming dishes in the sink? No, do something better. Go sit out in the backyard or go for a walk or, right, go to the grocery store and get something done because that will alleviate that stress, that worry, that anxiety that's going on in your system. Okay, we're just going to grab a card. I have no idea, as usual, where that conversation came from, but I kind of, as I'm talking about it, I kind of worked it out for myself. It was my own experience of being the busybody, right? Not intentionally, right? Not intentionally, but I allowed myself to get hooked, right? And reeled in to a conversation that I was grateful that I was able to just cut off with one sentence. I was just, okay, that's the end of that. And be able to feel the alleviation, if nothing else, in that gentleman that was standing on the ladder filling up the bread rack. Okay, you guys, let's just come in, check out the conversation here. Um, Tammy says, I don't have a TV either, Cindy. This is the second time in my life without a TV to watch, but I don't mind. It doesn't bother me. I can survive. Oh, so that tells me when you say I can survive, it tells me that you do enjoy TV. Is it yeah, well, it's not my business if it's a financial issue or the TV broke or you're just so busy in your life. I know that you take care of your brother, that you just don't have time for the TV. But if you love TV, I'm not saying throw your TV away, right? For myself, that's what I needed because I needed to go in. I really needed to fix my life, right? And sometimes you can look at your life and go, doesn't look any better, but it doesn't look any better on the outside. But in the inside, you guys, oh my goodness, in the inside, it was the best gift that I could have given myself. And I don't think I gave that to myself, right? Something or someone else just gave me that little bit of a 45-degree turn. Or maybe it was a 90-degree turn. Maybe it was a 180-degree turn or a 360-degree turn. And I've had many, many, many of those. And I think all of us do in the course of our life, but it's just in our choices that are we going to take that hook? Is that something good to munch on, or is that something just to keep us entertained, keeping us glued to a screen, right? Put a few pennies in somebody else's pocket, right? Because 60% of what's going on online is absolutely nothing, right? It's nothing. It's just meant to catch our attention so somebody can put a few cents in their pocket. Okay, you guys, let's pull a card. Cindy, is really windy right now in Winnipeg, Manitoba. Um, oh, you can hear the wind. It's because I have the window open, Tammy. I'm sorry. Uh, yeah, I was doing a little bit of running around today, so I'm just trying to stay cool and get the fresh air. I was outside today, and that fresh air felt so good. It was super cold. It was super cold, but it felt really good. So I've just been kind of continuing it. And because my desk is right by the window, the fresh air feels really good. But it was windy today. Here in Michigan, our winds, yeah, I heard that you guys are going to have some weather, that there's going to be some snow. Winter's not done yet. We've been getting little tastes of it, right? They took all the, they're not, the Zambonis that go on the river to make the ice rinks or the ice trails. So the skating trails, right? They haven't been clearing the trails, so they don't want people out on the river skating, just because the weather is unpredictable. And here in Winnipeg, once it starts melting, it only takes a few days, and they don't want anybody to fall through the ice. But they took all the heat shacks off the river, and I could see that there's a couple of snow built, not igloos, but long houses and stuff, like artwork, but buildings that they do with snow and ice. Those are still on the river, but as soon as the ice breaks, those will just sink to the bottom of the river. I actually was thinking on my walk, because I go over the bridge and over to the into another part of the city, and there was a shopping cart, just on the river, maybe 15 feet onto the river, and I actually contemplated going to get the shopping cart, but I thought, no, even though it's cold today, it wasn't so cold yesterday or the day before. So even though it looks frozen and solid, quite possible it's not. There's a reason they're not letting people going skating on ice skating on the river now. So I might as well honor that. And if the shopping cart goes to the bottom of the river, I guess it goes to the bottom of the river. But I know where it is, so I could take my fishing magnets, talking about magnets, right? Or fishing. I have fishing magnets. I like to do lots of outdoor things. One of the things I do like to do is go magnet fishing. I don't know if any of you guys know what magnet fishing. They're just big magnets that you put on a rope and you throw them out in the river. I have two of them, so I guess I could probably give it a shot, and if it sinks to the bottom of the river, that maybe I'll be able to drag it out. If I can't drag out the shopping cart, I'll probably drag out a few bicycles that got stolen in the past couple of years. Okay, you guys, let's just pick up a card. That perfume smells really nice. Just sitting on the desk here. Went, oh my goodness, I'd like to keep it, but for $80. Yeah, I thought that was a score. Only paid $4.99 for it. I says, well, I'll buy that, sell that. It was just sitting on the counter. Nobody else knew that it was. Okay, you guys, here's the card. Risk. Risk is the willingness to lose everything in the pursuit of something. Okay? Well, kind of maybe it's kind of pertinent to the conversation that we had tonight. But me not being the expert, why am I risking my well being, my emotional well being, in stressing about something that I have no connection to? Right? I'm just going to trust, right? I don't have family there. I don't have friends that are stuck there. So it's a different story for somebody who have friends and family that you're obviously going to worry and stress about what's going on over there. But because I don't have that interest, because I don't have that pull, because I have my own realm of expertise, right? But I'm going to trust that the catalysts put out in the world, that they're being directed to create change. And what does it say? Risk is the willingness to lose everything in the pursuit of something, right? And yeah, that's kind of interesting that I say that, because I keep that in mind when I come in here and do my live shows and everything, because I have to be using my own discernment too in what I can show up here with. I go hard in understandings and working in emotions, understanding that, I want to work with people who right, got hurt in their childhood, right? Have lived and existed with trauma their entire lives, and they might even be, right? I'm going to be a senior officially this year, right? And I would hate to think that people are carrying trauma their entire lives, staying in that agitation, that stress, that worry, that anxiety, and spend their entire lives there, right? So I'm willing to risk not seeing Big Brother and all my favorite reality TV shows. Is that a big risk? No, but I'm risking my own well being. I'm risking my time that I could be spending outside, but it's in that determination, it's in that accountability, and it's in that respect for the subjects and the people that I do serve. And in that, right, I'm taking some risk in that. I am, right? But it's all in the pursuit of something better, right? Not just for me, but for everybody. And just like every other catalyst out there that's making some big moves, right? Catalysts, right? It's not a catastrophe. It's sometimes, and I believe this, I really do believe this. Sometimes you do got to make a mess to clean a mess. And that's the truth. Okay, you guys. Risk. Risk is the willingness to lose everything in the pursuit of something. Okay, you guys. Have a great night.